I'm Caroline Ritchie.
And I'm James Bradford.
And this is 14 Minutes of Fame. How are you doing, James?
I'm doing great.
What's on the up and up?
Well, I think that we released our second episode of HHWheels last week.
Yeah,
and it was
we
incredible.
did. I am so happy it's out. I am so happy that everybody can see it. And we've had such a great response. So thank you to all the viewers or listeners or repeat viewers enjoying it. We've had, again, such a great response. I've had great feedback, through the internet, through people we know. It's just been so rewarding, to be honest.
I'm glad it's done.
I am too. I'm kind of sick of that car mildly.
I don't think I'll ever get sick of the car, but
I could get a vacation.
I'm glad to be moving on to other projects right now because, you mentioned my ADD is, I can't stay on one project.
You have the worst ADD when it comes to cars. Oh my
I like to jump around.
Yeah, I'm excited we can finally jump on something new and fresh because we've been, staring at this for, even though we spent 7 days putting it together, we spent so much time actually putting the video together and preparing for it that I am a little kind of over it, not gonna lie.
Well, I hope people are gonna watch it many times. I've actually talked to families that have sat down and watched it together, have 8 people in the room and just get a good giggle out of it, and so I think that's really an awesome thing, even though if it's only getting watched once, we kind of look at our analytics on, how many people are watching this. But when it's being played, it could be being played to 8 to 10 people at one time, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm also enjoying the response we're getting on social media, too. We actually have an Instagram page. It's at HHWheels. We also have a Facebook page, too, which is HHWheels. And we have gotten such a crazy good response from people online as well, which is also important, of course. Just the feedback on it, people are loving seeing us in character. They're loving to see the car finally finish. They love to see some of the modifications we've done to the car. And people are also excited to see what we're going to do with the car. So that's, again, super rewarding. I am so thankful we got it done. We also pulled it off, and everybody loves it. But again, we are ready to move on. We got onto a new adventure last week and a half ago, give or take. That's a whole nother story that's kind of pertaining to our last podcast, Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not sure that the total trip was 30 hours, and I'm not sure how I want to describe this.
30 hours in hell, for sure.
Or 30 hours of fun.
30 hours of hellish fun?
That would work.
It somehow works.
That's exactly what it was.
It was brutal. We definitely had... It was the most emotional road trip we've ever been on. It definitely put a strain on our friendship a couple times.
No, our friendship
you were
was never...
so mad at me.
No, I was aggravated at your...
You were hangry. That's what it was.
I was probably hangry. But I was aggravated at your what do I want to say, communication skills with this older gentleman that you were buying a car from.
So let's start from the beginning. So we took off on a Wednesday, but the night prior, on a Tuesday evening, we sat down. I had dinner with you and your wife, and you found this car, this 1972 AMC Javelin, and I've always wanted a Javelin, and you showed it to me, you sent it to me via Messenger, whatever, and I was just like, we need this car. Like, we need it, or I need it. Somebody here needs it. And you were kind of just like, whatever.
No, the whole issue with me was it was $800. So
you really can't say no to that. It's a super, super cool car. And
it was cheap.
So we had plans on that Wednesday to leave around 1-ish, and that quickly bit the dust, and we left around 3. But literally 10 minutes before we left, I called the guy, and I told him, I'm coming. I have cash. I'm not trying to haggle with you. I just want to come buy this car.
You were so excited.
I was so excited.
Were so excited. It was pretty funny to watch you. You were just running around, getting everything ready, throwing the tools in. Now, we did leave the bag of tools, though, by the way, on the back steps. Yeah. It didn't get on the truck.
I thought you said we left him. Anyway.
No.
So.
Not down in Florida, but here.
Okay.
But anyway, we were running around, got all the gear in, left the island right at 3.
I talked to the guy. He was confident in holding it for me because he knew I was coming from out of town. I told him I could send him money via Venmo, which I don't condone at all, but I was so excited and borderline desperate to get this car, I really didn't care. He didn't want it because he had no form of technology like that. So he held it for us. On our way there, I texted him, he got back to me. He was somewhat responsive. Then we got about 2 hours away, and he just totally, pooped the bed. He stopped talking to me. He stopped, answering my phone calls. He didn't take any of my voicemails, whatever. He kept reading them, but he wasn't answering them. So I was starting to freak out a little bit, not gonna lie, but you already had some premeditated plans for us going down there. There were a couple other things that you wanted to grab in the midst of this road trip.
Yeah, we tentatively made this plan.
You did, not me. It's
Tuesday
not a we.
night. Well, we were texting back and forth. We're like, okay, you get in touch with the guy, and if he does in the morning, we'll leave. But that gave me several hours to shop around Marketplace for some things that I caught my eye.
Some things. We picked up 5 single items in that trip, including the car, and 4 of those were yours.
Hey. I went Facebook Marketplace shopping.
So on the way there, we were, probably in Stark, Florida. This car was located in Clearwater, Florida, outside of Tampa. And we kind of devised a plan on how we were going to strategize getting each item because you had thankfully had a bunch of responsive people talking to you, and all the guys you talked to were super awesome.
Yeah, so no, I had a plan just to do a nice big circle and pick everything up, but we ended up going we
went all over Florida.
Yeah,
So anyway, on the way down there, the guy didn't answer me, and then we finally got into Tampa. We didn't go into Clearwater for the sake of we weren't sure if this guy was going to answer. He didn't send me his address, which should have been a red flag immediately, but I was just so excited and so emotionally set on this car, I really didn't care, to be honest. And he finally answered his phone, 8:45, and he knew we were going to be there between 8 and 9. I told him more realistically around 9. He's like, that's fine, no worries, just kept reassuring me that was okay. So we were confident in going. And then he was a completely different person on the phone, and I'm still furious about it to this moment. He was like, I don't want to do business right now. It's just not a good time. And I agree. I do not think it's a good idea to do business, especially with cars at night. But this was, a pre-organized situation, so I had confidence in it happening. And I told him, I was like, you don't have to help me load up the car. I will give you the cash. You can go back to bed or whatever you're doing.
No, you brought me. You knew I was going to load the car.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sure. All right. Anyway, so you're so rude. Anyway, going back to the story. So long story short, he blew us off. He's like, I'll meet you in the morning. And he couldn't give us his address still. He was like, just, this is kind of where I live. Gave me 2 streets. We're like, screw it. So
he was afraid we were going to come and try to steal the car. I could tell in the way his voice was when you had him on speaker. I think somebody got a little too happy at happy hour.
Definitely. So we made plans to spend the night in Tampa. But before that happened, we shot over to St. Cloud, Florida, which is kind of southwest of Orlando, because you wanted to pick up one of your coveted items, which is
a World War II practice bomb.
So we drove all the way through touristy Orlando in the middle of the night. Thankfully, again, no traffic. Amazing. Picked this thing up. The guy was super cool. He's like, we stay up till 1 o'clock. It's fine. You can come by. Yeah. Really cool dude. Then we buzz all the way back to the hotel after making a couple of premeditated stops on the way there. And that was awesome. Then we just crashed for a couple hours, woke back up at 7. The guy I talked to about the Javelin was just like, meet me at 8 or call me at 8. It was weird. He was like, let's meet at 8. I was like, okay, when do you want me to call you? 8 o'clock. I was like,
that doesn't make sense.
It didn't make any sense. Whatever. So we parked in this parking lot. You got a ticket for being double parked with a trailer.
Yeah, and no cars in the parking lot.
Not
it was
a
just
single
stupid.
Car. He's already sore about that. So here's another emotional, peak in this road trip. So then I call him. I called him 3 times that morning, I think. And then he
just
finally
didn't answer.
answered.
Yeah, until you left the message. And then I think he checked his message. Again, your communication skills with older gentlemen might not be the best because your brain is going really fast and theirs are going really slow, like mine sometimes. You know how you have to kind of slow down and talk to me sometimes?
I have to repeat myself.
Anyway, it was an issue because I watched you do it. And I'm like, he's not getting what you're saying.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about
Anyway,
it. The thought of it still makes me furious.
We ended up picking the car.
We ended up getting the car, and then we had a couple more trips we had to make.
Yeah.
Stops, I guess.
And we ended up getting some cool stuff, and we ended up coming home. By the time we got back to South Carolina, it was, it was getting dark and
it was like 9 o'clock, right?
30 hours. I counted it out. It was 30 solid hours of driving.
There was some serious drama in that hole.
Yeah. So, with very little sleep, because you snored a lot. You were out, and it was full on chainsaws.
I was so tired because I didn't get any sleep the night before, and then when we came back, I didn't get any sleep either because I had a big print job I had to get done.
And you were sleeping on the couch. I don't even understand. I gave you my credit card to get a hotel, and you got a hotel room with a couch and a little bed, and I'm like, why didn't you get a room with 2 big beds in it? I don't understand it. Anyway, all right, it's just on and on and on.
You were yelling at me at one point, and then the next, someone's like, what kind of room do you want?
It was on and on.
And I told her, I was like, whatever's cheapest. I really don't care. Just give me a room. She's like, okay, that's fine. Like, whatever. And she's like, okay, here's this room. Here's your booking number. And so be it. So it ended up being one thing after another. Like, we went to a gas station and all of the pumps were broken.
Oh, yeah.
We went to a good dinner and they had no inside seating. So we had to get takeout. I have never seen James eat a salad so fast in my life.
I'm so over the social distancing thing right now that I understand that it's probably necessary in certain areas and for some good reasons we have, but I tell you what.
Well, not to get political about it, but we are on such a small island and such, a small spectrum of people. I really don't think we have a good mental grasp of how it actually is or how it's actually affecting people. Right. So we have our own views on it. And we've also kept our circle small anyway. But yeah, it does get a little old at some points. It also does get a little old when people are like this close to you, when you're in line at wherever and they're just like right next to you and they don't have a mask and you're sitting there like...
back up, man.
But...
Well, I'll be excited when we can get back to. I'm looking forward to the day that we can get back to going to a sporting event, maybe getting to a NASCAR race or a motocross race again, or
car show. I miss car shows or concerts.
We have car shows that we really planned on going to this year. We had to cancel all that, so I know it's just. I know it's probably necessary, and we're all doing the right thing. We're all in this together, but I feel like I'm really over it. I think I'm just voicing my opinion.
We're coping as best as we can with the situation. I don't have as many complaints because I've had so many things I've needed to get done. Having free time, and I didn't have that before this, so I am kind of thankful. I'm not thankful for the pandemic, the issue at hand, but I'm thankful for the time that I'm getting from this. And we wouldn't have been able to do so much with our YouTube channel, unfortunately, and fortunately without it. I'm not saying it is a blessing by any means, but it's a blessing that we've had this time to do all this.
Yeah, the time.
Yeah,
I guess.
For sure.
Well, shoot, man, we gotta wind this thing down.
14 minutes of hellish fun.
It was 30 hours. I'll go 14 minutes of hellish fun with you though today. It was good.
Yeah, hellish for sure. So really quickly, again, thank you for the great response we've had on our YouTube channel and all of our videos. I want to stress to everybody to continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and comment, and also hit the notification button. It's a little bell down below our videos so you can get notified whenever we post a video. It'll send you an email through your Google account. We also, like I mentioned prior in the video, we have an Instagram account. It's at HHWheels, and we also have a Facebook page, which is just HHWheels. We keep up to date with all of our videos we post, keep up to date in real time with what we're doing, where we're going, what we're buying, what's interesting us. And what about our sponsors today?
Well, I'd like to thank Fuel Clothing Company, the Bike Doctor of Hilton Head, Rebels Navy, Carolina Towing, and Land Speed Automotive.
Thanks for watching and listening.